Google Stadia was a new kind of gaming platform, as it's all about streaming without a console taking up limited space on your TV or under your desk. After a bit of a bumpy start with some teething problems, Stadia offered a whole range of the hottest games of the last few years, from Cyberpunk 2077 to Resident Evil Village. And with the streaming service, you can play these games on the go in any Chrome browser, at PC, or on your phone. Just imagine someone playing that bit in Resident Evil Village on the subway. Stadia recently closed its first-party studio to focus on business partnerships and its own technology, so it's unclear what's next for the platform. It hasn't been around long, but Google Stadia has already gone through a lot of changes, and we want to help you understand them and find out how the platform actually works. But of course, since it's announced that Stadia will not be continued, we wanted to tell you the story of Google Stadia. Of course, for more videos like this, you should definitely subscribe to our channel, Bright Hustle. And if you did, let's learn about the bizarre adventures of Stadia. To use Google Stadia, you'll need the supported hardware to stream games to your home device. This includes Chromecast on TV, the Chrome browser on PC, or the Stadia app on Pixel phones, and almost all other Android devices. You can play Stadia on your iPhone or iPad through the Safari browser. So, what exactly is Google Stadia? Google Stadia lets you play modern games on just about any screen you own, with Google's servers handling all the processing power and transmitting it to you via the cloud. You don't have to worry about downloads or installations. If your device can run a Google Chrome browser, it can also use Google Stadia. Google Stadia supports gaming on TV with a Chromecast Ultra, desktop computer, laptop, tablet, and smartphones. If your internet connection allows it, Google Stadia can stream games in 4K resolution with HDR and 5.1 surround sound at 60 frames per second, using an internet connection with a speed of at least 35 megabytes per second. And even if your internet isn't that fast, Google Stadia supports a wide range of internet speeds at the cost of some graphical quality, with 10 megabytes per second being the recommended minimum speed. You can check in advance whether your chosen platform is ready for Google Stadia by using the handy Google Speed Test website. Google Stadia offers unique features like Stream Connect for games like Outriders and The Division 2, which lets you see your teammates' screens, and State Share, which lets you share a screenshot or video in games like Hitman that saves your unique game state at that moment so others can jump right into it. How does Google Stadia work? Cloud gaming, which is streaming games without physical copies, renders games on a remote server instead of your local device. The game is then streamed to your device while your input with the controller, or mouse and keyboard, is sent to the server. You can use touch controls on a tablet or on a cell phone. Is Google Stadia free? Yes, but the free options have changed. In April 2020, Google Stadia offered a free option to everyone who signed up. 2 months of Stadia Pro, and all the free games that come with it. If you already had a Stadia Pro subscription, your next 2 months would go to Google. Now, however, you can only get 1 free month of Stadia Pro when you sign up for the service, and the 3 free months that were offered in the Premier Edition package have fallen by the wayside. So the price of the Premier Edition has dropped by $30, but the lack of the 3 free months for Stadia Pro makes up for that, as it's a $9.99 monthly fee. Remember that if you don't want the Stadia Pro subscription after the month is up, you'll have to cancel it, so set a reminder in your phone. If you don't have an active Stadia Pro subscription, you can also buy the games individually from the store. Is there a hotter start and a harder return to earth in the video game industry than Google Stadia? In this fledgling industry, many ambitious plans have blown up over the past decade, but the unveiling of Stadia at the Game Developers Conference in 2019 felt like a historic moment. Less than a year later, it was just another Google experiment that failed to ignite. Thursday's announcement wasn't shocking because of the fact that Google is pulling the plug on its vegetative streaming platforms for games. It was notable because Google is offering refunds to everyone who spent money on the service. For some, the end of Stadia was foreseeable 18 months ago when Google stopped developing first-party games, for which Google bought out 2 studios and hired well-known actress Jade Raymond. For many others, if not most, it was because of Google's weak value proposition. Stadia Pro, the service's premium subscription tier, gave players access to an underwhelming library of unknown indie games, boutique racing sims, and red-hot THQ products. The promised 4K streaming resolution was also largely not achieved. When it was announced in 2019, Stadia was supposed to push aside the idea of dedicated gear, a $500 PlayStation, or even more expensive PC gaming rigs, by giving you AAA gaming quality from any device that can run the Chrome browser. Google learned from this that for a virtual console, you still need a few exclusive titles to grab headlines and draw people in. Instead, according to some reports, Google paid an 8-figure sum to bring established console and PC titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, The Division, or the latest NBA 2K to its platform, at full price. Attentive Google watchers, and there are many, noted Stadia's very un-Google-like start. Typically, the company starts small, even acknowledging the beta status of its ideas, and expands. Since its announcement at GDC 2019, Stadia has been marketed like a finished product. But behind the scenes, Stadia's managers seem to be spending as much money as possible to create the most redundant platform of its time. Meanwhile, the truly stellar features that Google Vice President Phil Harrison promised at GDC 2019 were never fully realized. Innovations like distributed physics can be built into your games, with Google servers doing all the processing, he said on stage at Moscone Center. Battle Royale games can go from hundreds of players today to thousands of players tomorrow. That assertion is unfortunately timely, as just last week the group of former Battlefield players who founded Embark Studios announced The Finals, a multiplayer shooter whose intricate, destruction-based physics engine is processed server-side. The game's creative director called this type of rendering a holy grail that the studio, founded in 2018, has been chasing for a long time. Microsoft's Crackdown 3, no less, tried it in 2019, and it didn't quite make it. Harrison said Thursday that Google will use the technology the Stadia team has developed in other areas of Google and make it available to our industry partners. But it appears that the studios are now able to deliver on one of Stadia's original promises without its technology. Ultimately, perhaps the only innovation Google will offer video games is the idea that the people who put their skin in the games will get some money back if a platform really dies. Google will shut down Stadia for good on January 18, 2023. Everything except Stadia Pro subscriptions will be refunded. But whether that will happen automatically or have to be requested is unknown at this time. Those who bought Google Stadia games, expansions, or downloadable content at full price will be compensated. However, Google said Thursday, it's doubtful that Google's partners in the gaming industry will be as grateful as Stadia's customers. When OnLive went belly up in 2015, anyone who bought one of the set-top boxes before February of that year found themselves with an expensive coaster for the dining room table. When Ouya's vision of bringing Android mobile gaming to home theater system failed that same year, none of the backers of that crowd-funded console got anything in return. When you remember the early days of other tech companies' ill-advised console projects, how much they paid for exclusive titles, how much money they lost, how investors and competitors reacted to the bad news, it seems like a miracle that Xbox is even viable 20 years later, let alone the market leader in video game streaming and subscriptions. At Google, Stadia was just another expensive experiment. And that concluded the story of the Stadia. Weird development ending just like any other Google lineup. And we would love to hear what you think about it down in the comments section. Of course, for more videos like this, you can always subscribe to our channel Bright Hustle, so we know you want more. Thanks for watching the video, and we hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day, and goodbye.